There's no question that in the Emerald ROM hack Elite Redux, there are some really powerful Pokemon. I mean, what do you expect when you give a Pokemon like Calyrex Shadow Rider 4 abilities at once? Technically it has 5, since as 1 is 2 abilities at once, but you're telling me this thing gets Speed Boost and Shadow Shield? However, these are Pokemon you'd expect to be broken, but there are a ton of hidden gems throughout this game. So in this video, I wanted to go over just 5 of the underrated beasts in this game. Look, everyone knows how busted Shedinja could be. With Wonder Guard, you can just eliminate a few Pokemon that can damage it and win. They even gave it a new Mega Evolution. However, Shedinja is just a byproduct of the real force of nature, that being Ninjask. This bug flying type is a top tier threat and should be feared. But you wouldn't know that from its stats necessarily. Ninjask has absolutely no defenses to speak of, with below 55 for both stats and an HP stat of 61. Its attack was actually increased from the base games though to 100. And of course its signature high speed stat of 160, tying it for the 10th fastest in the game and 3rd fastest non-legendary or Mega Evolution. Well, what if I told you that its speed stat does more for it than Let It Go first? See, one of Ninjask's 3 choice abilities is Speed Force, letting contact moves use 20% of its speed stat on top of its attack stat. It doesn't seem like a lot, but with max speed investment, that's an additional 92 points to attack, bringing it to 391. This is just the beginning. Ninjask also gets Speed Boost as an innate, giving it a +1 to speed after each turn. Simply use Protect, and now its attack sits at 437 with 690 in speed. With the Focus Sash keeping it safe, it can go for something like Swords Dance. Its attack is doubled, and once again, its Speed Boost activates, making it even stronger. At this point, the attack on its contact moves is 782. That's almost the same as Urshifu with huge power, by the way. And why not just go for another Protect to activate Speed Boost again and bring its attack power to 828. It's now ready to destroy everything in its path. X-Scissor is an excellent stab move that cuts through plenty of foes. Quick Attack can be run if you're worried about priority. Leech Life can bring its health back up and reactivate its Focus Sash if it didn't get used up. The move that really makes it the ultimate sweeper though is Whirling Strikes, a flying type version of Triple Axle. So it gets stab damage, and with Compound Eye as another innate ability, it will pretty much always hit 3 times. This will remove any Focus Sash Pokemon, sturdy Pokemon, or even a Pokemon with Multi-Scale and Shadow Shield. Remember that each turn it's still going, it gets stronger and stronger. With very little ways to stop Ninjask after it gets going, it's one of the strongest regular Pokemon in the game right now. They can't all be sweepers, and sometimes you just need a good wall. Well, one of the greatest Eviolite Pokemon of all time, Dusclops, is excellent at it. The Pure Ghost has had some slight changes to its stats, mostly an increase to attack to raise it to 90. But what's most important is its defensive stats, which both sit at 130. With an Eviolite boosting these up by 50%, it's almost impossible to one-shot, and is an excellent Pokemon to pivot to in most situations. One of its innate abilities, Stall, actually reduces damage even more if it goes last. A 30% damage reduction is huge, and with such low speed, it usually will go last. But being a pure wall isn't enough. It needs to do some damage as well. With Soul Linker as a choice ability, it can take out multiple Pokemon with ease. Soul Linker makes enemies take the same amount of damage they inflict, and vice versa. So if a Pokemon takes 100 HP from Dusclops, they will also lose 100 HP. It works the other way around, so instead of attacking, Dusclops can use status moves and be disruptive. With Recovery from Rest, it has plenty of HP, so Pokemon not strong enough to one-shot it will go down. If Cursed Body activates, Pokemon's best move might be disabled, preventing a clean 2-shot. Dusclops is amazing and can be one of the most valuable Pokemon on any team. Hail teams are really powerful in Elite Redux, and one of the best Pokemon you can put on one of these teams is Mamoswine. The stats have not been changed at all from the base games. Still, 130 in attack is really good even in this game, and can certainly deal damage. 80 in speed is still a bit of an issue though. Well, the Hail actually improves both of these by a lot and more. With Slush Rush as an innate, the lower speed stat is raised by 50%, making it much faster than a lot of Pokemon. Basically a free choice scarf in the Hail. Then it can also have Whiteout as a choice ability, raising its already solid attack by 50%. So a free choice band. That's a lot of speed and power for a Pokemon with such an offensive typing. Hail also gives Ice types a 50% defense boost, so that's a boost on 3 different stats just from a weather condition. But it actually gets even better. Growing Tooth lets its power snowball, as each time a biting move is used, it gets a +1 to attack. Mamoswine can tear through entire teams with stab biting moves like Tectonic Fangs and Ice Fangs, as well as coverage moves like Jagged Fangs. A new rock type biting move. Once it gets going, it's extremely hard to stop. Even having a stab priority move with Ice Shard. It still has Thick Fat as an innate, so fire is one less weakness it has to worry about. It's obviously much better in Hail, but if you don't want that up for your team, it can still run a Choice Scarf and Sheer Force. All three of the mentioned biting moves get a boost from Sheer Force, so that's also very strong. With some Tailwind support, it can just hold a Life Orb and get another 30%, cause why not? I like Mamoswine a lot because it's not only strong on the right team, but also on its own. Cinccino is certainly a Pokemon I rarely think about, but even less so when it comes to being a viable Pokemon. Well, it certainly shouldn't be overlooked in this game. Statistically though, nothing changes for it. It still has a base stat total of 470 with a mediocre attack stat of 95. Speed is decent at 115, but with such low defenses, it pretty much has to outspeed an opponent or else it's going down. Luckily, it has one really strong ability that takes it from below average to very useful. The choice ability, Perfectionist, will add a +1 crit boost to any move under 51 base power. But that's not all. Perfectionist will also give any move under 26 base power +1 priority, so in most situations, Cinccino doesn't have to be the fastest Pokemon to be effective. Now, what moves would this even be good for? Well, Cinccino gets access to some great multi-hit moves like Stab, Tail Slap. Also moves like Bullet Seed, Rock Blast, and Triple Axle. All under 26 base power, so they have priority. With loaded dice, that makes all of them guaranteed to be over 100 base power. But it gets even better for Cinccino because it also gets the Technician ability as an innate, which boosts the power of moves below 60 base power by 50%. So these moves are actually between 150 and 187 base power, which is actually insane for a priority move. That's not even including the crits that are likely. The coverage is really solid, and not even focus sashes will be in the way, and there's a ton in this game. If they somehow live from one of these attacks, not all hope is lost. Because of its other innate ability, Cute Charm, contact moves have a 50% chance to inflict Infatuation, which will cut their attack power in half. So even though it's fragile, it can still live hits. Cinccino is not a Pokemon that's going to carry your team on its back or anything, but having one is far from a wasted slot, and you'll be surprised how clutch it can be. Fossil Pokemon can be really good in this game, but one that doesn't get enough love is Omastar. The Generation 1 Water Fossil can blow through an entire team if it's left unchecked. Once again, this isn't because of a magical change to its stats or anything, they're the exact same. Decent physical bulk with 125 defense paired with 70 in HP, as well as a solid special attack sitting at 115. A poor speed stat of 55 is a big problem, but can be remedied with one move. Shell Smash will double both its attack stats and double its speed at the cost of both of its defenses being dropped. Omastar has decent bulk, and with the Shell Armor ability, it's not completely vulnerable after this. It's a very powerful status move, but can be risky. However, with just 55 in speed, sometimes doubling its speed still isn't enough. That's where its choice ability, Weak Armor, comes in handy. After being hit with a contact move, its defenses will drop, but its speed will double. So if you Shell Smash on the same turn it gets hit, Omastar will have a +4 in speed and a +2 in special attack, making it a dangerous sweeper for sure. With the White Herb item, you can reset most of the defense drops as well, so it's not completely open to priority one-shots. What can it do after it gets set up though? Well, now it can hit you with one of the most powerful rock type moves in existence, Meteor Beam. A 2-turn move that gives it a +1 special attack on the first turn, then blast you with 120 base power on the second. Normally, 2-turn moves are awful, but with the Accelerate ability as an innate, Omastar can use it instantly, making itself stronger and stronger with each use. Its Fossilized ability actually gives rock moves a 20% boost, so it's actually even stronger. With such high speed and a powerful move that keeps getting better and better, the options start to become limited. Omastar is just one of those Pokemon that can reverse sweep your entire team if you're not careful. The more you play Elite Redux, the more surprising Pokemon you end up finding. These are just 5 of the average everyday Pokemon that are actually elite, but trust me, there are so much more. So leave a like on the video if you want me to cover more of these Pokemon, and don't forget to subscribe. What underrated Pokemon have you been using? Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.